Okay, so I want to go over a couple tiling tips about installing tile in a walk-in shower. And a lot of this just comes from experience. It comes from being, doing things the wrong way, having trouble installing tile and making sure that everything evenly works out. So order of operation is primarily number one is to always install your shower floor tile first, especially when you're doing something like this where it's a diagonal pattern and this is also a travertine. So it's really important to have expansion and contraction joint all the way around your shower pan, and it's just going to be easier to install this tile first so you don't have to be as precise with your edge cutting, and then your wall tile will cover over that expansion and contraction joint. So that's really important to do your shower floor first. And then second thing is the next step is to do your back wall. And the main reason you want to do your back wall is so that when you have your sidewall tile, it'll cover over, you won't be basically visibly looking at a grout joint along the edges. That's going to make it easier for your cuts, because if you actually did these two walls first, you're going to have to be very accurate with your cutting in the corners. When you do it this way, you can be a 1/16 off and you're not going to really notice it. Now you can tell I caulked these corners as well. So at the end of the day, you're really not going to see it either way, but to make it easier on yourself, do this back wall first. Okay, and then pretty much the next few tips are going to go over about tools that make things easier. So number one, using a leveling system on bigger tile. So these are basically 8 by 24 inch tile, and I recommend using some kind of tile leveling system. One of my favorites that I used in this is a wedge and clip system called T-Lock Perfect Level Master. Reason I love them, and I've used many different systems, but the T-Lock, the clips, the plastic clips that are going between, the strongest I've ever used. I barely ever break one. I use other systems that, when you wedge it in and you clip it too much, it just breaks off. Very frustrating, especially when you're in a situation where you just don't, who wants to pull off a tile and have to put a new clip in? So I really have a lot of confidence with the clips, but one of the other reasons I like them is because they have the spacers incorporated into the clip, so you can get different size clips for whatever grout joint you want. So primarily, I usually just go with a 1/16 inch grout joint, because I think at the end of the day, that is just kind of a common size. So I always primarily go with the 1/16 inch clips, but it's nice to have that already spaced in there. And then the other thing, when you actually have this all clipped together, it really makes it easy and holds everything together. And then just having simple things like horseshoe shims for spacers. Much easier than those rubber little tees that you get from the big box stores. Those are so tedious. They're not always the same size. I mean, at least I've had an experience where some of them are bigger than others, which doesn't make any sense for a tile leveling system, or no, not for a living system, but for a tile spacer for that matter. They should be exactly what they say they are. But the horseshoe shims, they're just easier to put into the joint. You can double them up if you need to. I always use them to just shim up my glass corner shelves just slightly so this is pitched. There's just a lot of different things to use them on, and you can just reuse them. They're very easily to be reused. Another tool that I like is a linoleum knife. I know that sounds weird for tile working, but it just has that nice little hook that makes it easy to move over your tile and scrape out any thin set in between. So that's one of my primary tools I'm always looking for, because it just helps me to manipulate the tile, move it, and also just scrape out the joints as well. And then if you want to make it easy on yourself, just get a solid curbed top if you're doing a curbed shower. In this instance, I used a 4-inch curb. I like the slender curbs. I think it makes more sense, especially in a smaller shower, to go with a 4-inch curb. Most shower kits are going to come with shower curbs that the waterproofing is 4 inches. And what that requires is basically like a 6-inch curb top to go over that, because by the time you put your tile on the edges of that 4-inch curb, you're going to need some overhang above that on the sides of the tile. So you end up with like a really large curb, and really that's kind of useless if you ask me. I mean, you're going to put your shower doors on it, but why do you need 6 inches? And especially if you're in a smaller space like this, I just think having something slender. So that's where this lean curb that I used with the WEDI system is great. The other great thing about the WEDI curb is that it's waterproof all the way through. So I have no problems drilling into this curb and worrying about my screws penetrating the waterproofing. So really a lot of benefits to it. But again, I just also think that the slender looks much better in a smaller shower.